Life.
All right. Good evening, dear listeners from all over the world. My name is Prince Nelson Oyeneho, the MD of Lujo Heights Homes Limited. We're sincerely sorry we started a bit late. It was due to technical challenges. So we'll delve right to our topic for the day: what smart investors are doing now. It's a very complex one. What smart investors are doing now. Okay, when you hear of investors, especially when it has to do with real estate, what comes to your mind? Please, for every question you have, drop it on the comment section and we'll attend to it. So, we'll attend to every question you have. This session is for 1 hour, and we're devoting about 30 minutes to the teachings, then 30 minutes for question and answers. So for every question you have, drop it on the comment section and we'll get to it later. So thank you very much. Real estate investments, investment options and all. When you want to step into real estate, either as a beginner or as a consistent investor, there are factors you need to consider. The two most important factors to consider are if the investments you want to do is a long-term investment or a short-term investment. And this is where we'll get most people. I know a lot of persons will think real estate is a place where you come and invest 1 million naira and in 3 days you make out 10 million. It's different from that. That is not the case when you step into real estate investments. Most investment options in real estate are majorly long-term. They are majorly long-term. Get one fact straight. Real estate is not a Ponzi scheme. Real estate is not a Ponzi scheme. It's not a place where you bring 1 million naira and in 3 days you pack 5 million naira. It doesn't work like that. Real estate is an investment system where you need to carefully study the market, do your research. Okay, for a beginner in real estate investments, the first thing you need to do is do your research. By doing your research, you tell yourself, okay, I have a budget of 10 million naira. I have a budget of 500,000 naira. I have a budget of 100,000 naira to invest in real estate. So what options are available to me? And these options could actually come up when you carefully research. Most times when researching, it's advisable you consult a reputable real estate company like Lujo Heights Homes Limited. But then it's something you could still do with your lawyer, with your broker, or basically any consultant or expert that understands the real estate investments. For long-term investments, there are various options available for long-term investments. We have this option that is not too popular in Nigeria, but then it's there. I know most of you will be hearing this for the first time. It's called crowdfunding. Crowdfunding. What is crowdfunding? Crowdfunding is when a whole lot of investors gather together to fund a particular project. Okay, just like you have the Eco Atlantic currently coming up in Lagos. Eco Atlantic, there are several investors that came together to pull up funds because the amount required was astronomical. It's not something a single investor could just come up with the funds. So the company pushing it out to pull up several investors to gather finances to finance that project. Okay, in crowdfunding, you could have upwards of 2 to 50, 80, 100 persons funding a singular project. And then for crowdfunding, your money does not come immediately. The money is always tenor-based. By tenor, the investment has a maturity stage. If the project is going to cost an estimated 1 billion naira, and 10 persons come together to invest 100 million naira each to raise 1 billion naira, the profit margin, the profit for the entire project might be 4 billion at the investment of the 1 billion. So at the end of the investment, the management company disposes of the property either for rental purpose or for sale, outright sale. Then at the close of sales, the profits are shared among all investors. This takes as much as 4, 10 to 15 years, depending on how long it takes to finish and, of course, consummate the entire deal. Then you have the land banking. This land banking is actually what is quite popular in Nigeria now. It's making wave. I hear a lot of persons jump and say, land banking, I'm doing land banking, I'm doing land banking. What exactly is land banking? Okay, land banking is a process of aggregating, that's purchasing and accumulating a large tract of land, a whole lot of land, for the sole purpose of selling later for higher profits. Okay, I'll explain what this basically is. Those days, there's this place called Enekalink Road Share Cooperative in Port Harcourt. If you're in River State in Port Harcourt, you'll be conversant with this area. After 7 years ago, this area was selling for just about 500 to 800,000 naira. A few smart investors took up the opportunity and acquired large properties there. I have this friend of mine, he's a medical doctor. He told me that when he was going to buy this property, his wife discouraged him. A lot of persons told him, why do you need to buy this property? Will this property appreciate anytime soon? This place is a swamp. It's a kidnapper's den. It's a bush. It's not going to develop. But then they failed to understand one thing. The cities of today were the bushes of yesterday. I was watching a video where somebody was showing a clip of Lekki as at 15, 20 years ago. Lekki was just a swamp. Lekki was filled with a lot of bushes. Now, I think some places in Lekki, a plot of land goes for as high as 100 and something million, 200 million. These were areas that you could actually get a land just for the clapping. Where you could literally get a land just for the clapping. Some smart investors keyed into this opportunity, aggregated those properties. And of course, when the value went up, what did they do? They sold these properties. You understand? I listened to a video of Reverend Fato Ibo of Koza. He was saying something that when he was growing up, their father got some properties got a property in Ikoyi, and when the dad died, they sold the property, and that was what funded him and his brother's education abroad. So he was like, when they told them the amount for this property, that he had to do a special Thanksgiving again for his late father, thanking the man for ensuring their financial security, even in his grave. When this man probably bought that property, a lot of persons might be doing some other things with their money. I know as at that period, what was raining was 504 pound. This 504 pound. A whole lot of persons, of course, used their own money, their own finances to buy 504 pound. They became termed as the biggest boys of those periods. Then they failed to understand one thing. In investment, you need to understand the appreciation rate of the commodity you're trading in. It's stated that the moment you buy a car, once you drive that car out of the dealership, the car loses 25% of its value. The moment you register that car and put a plate number on it, it loses 50% of its value. What does that mean? You buy a car 3 million at 1 million naira. The moment you drive the car out of the dealership, that car goes for 750,000 naira. Sir, the car has lost about 25% of its value. You understand? If you register that car and put a plate number on that car, the value of that car depreciates further down to about 50%. If you want to sell that car, if you buy a car at 1 million naira, you get broke or you get stuck financially. You want to sell this property. The moment you call your friend, Emeka, how far? This car I bought that day, I want to sell it to. Emeka will tell you, how much did you buy the car? I bought the car 1 million naira. Okay, how much do you want to sell? Because everybody understands that the financial reward from such investment, it's always on a downward trajectory. But then if you buy a land for 1 million naira and you call your friend, bro, how far? I want to sell this my land though. The first thing you ask is, how much did you buy the land? Okay, I bought 1 million naira. How much do you want to sell? Chief, it's a global standard, not just in Nigeria. It's a global standard that real estate properties are consistently on an upward trajectory when it has to do with financial returns. So this is what land banking does for you. You understand and study where the city is going to. You understand? I see a lot of persons when they come into my office. You hear them say, I'm looking for a buy and build. Of course, I appreciate that fact. You want to buy a buy and build. The first question I will always ask them is, Chief, are you ready to develop anytime soon? A man that did the business and the first money that came into his hand is just about 20 million naira. You want to invest the whole of the entire 20 million naira into buying a single property. Most times I tend to advise them, why don't you split it? There are properties you could buy at 1 million naira, 2 million naira, just like our Pentagon that is currently selling at Igrita Ali School Road in Port Harcourt, an upcoming new city, an area the Port Harcourt city is expanding to. Imagine you buy a property like that. You understand that 2 million naira. 20 million naira would get you approximately 10 plots at our Pentagon. You keep it for, let's say, a million naira. The financial projection for such property is that in the next 1 year, by the time all that is to come there, most of it comes there, that property should be hitting a minimum of 6 to 8 million naira. 6 to 8 million naira. Imagine the appreciation rate. But then you buy a property of 20 million naira. There are indices for calculating the appreciation rate for properties. Things like facility, infrastructure, road. You're buying a property where the road has already been built. Electricity has already gotten to that place. Most of the buildings there have already been developed. What other infrastructure is coming there that would shoot up the appreciation value of that place? Do you understand? Of course, the property, I'm not disputing the fact that the property can actually appreciate. It can, but the appreciation rate is going to be quite minimal compared to a property that you know that area that has no road, no access road for maybe 500,000 naira. The moment I bring a bulldozer, sir, and open just with a bulldozer and open the Virgin Road, expand it so cars can drive in. Do you know what happened to that property, sir? The value of that property will shoot up from estimatedly 500,000 naira to at least 700,000 naira, sir, with just a single road that was opened. An electric pole, I'm not talking of the wires, sir. An electric pole comes close to that property. You don't appreciate again with that, oh. You understand? Your neighbor does just a fencing. No, I'm not talking of development. Your neighbor does a fencing. The value of your property keeps appreciating. For every little infrastructural development that comes up within that neighborhood, it positively appreciates the value of that property. You understand? Appreciates the value of that property. You get? So land banking is the best way to shore up your finances against inflation. Something actually happened quite recently. I wanted to do some dollar transactions. So I went to the bank and bought a few dollars. And I won't mention the amount I bought, but it was quite a whole lot. I bought those dollars at about 1,400 naira. At about 1,400 naira. Because the norm then, the rumor then was that dollar was going to hit 3,000 naira. A couple of us thought, okay, let's just buy now before it hits 3,000. So when we want to do more, what we want to do in dollars, we'll be able to do them. I bought a few dollars and short it up and was beating my chest that Nelson, you've tried. Chief, do you know what happened to me? 4 days later, dollar dropped to 1,300. I thought it was a joke. My account officer, after a week, my mind moved away from that transaction. After a week, my account officer called me on phone. She was like, sir, we're losing money on that dollar. I suggest to sell now. I asked her how I'm trading for now. She told me the dollar was trading for 1,050 naira. I developed high blood pressure. It became obvious that dollar effects, the foreign exchange market, was no longer a hedge against inflation. If a single market speculation could trigger the fall of value, the fall in value of that investment, in less than 2 weeks, I lost over 15 million naira in my dollar investment. In less than 2 weeks. In less than 2 weeks. But then imagine if I had invested that money in properties. What do you think would have happened? Sir, government predictions hardly affect real estate. As a matter of fact, one of the most stable sector in the economy is the real estate sector. You know why? There will always be a demand for shelter. Primary instinct, primary demand for man, apart from food, water, it's shelter. Shelter. The primary man, even from the ancient time, the ancient man has always sought shelter for not just him, for him and his household. For him and his household. The housing sector in Nigeria is suffering a whole lot of deficit. A whole lot of deficit. So when you invest in real estate, you can't go wrong with it. You study where the city is going to. You go there and buy properties, and you wait for the city to meet you there. When the city meets you there, you become the landlord of the town. I hear stories of a lot of persons that the area I was telling you about in the Canning Road in Port Harcourt, for those of you in Port Harcourt. The value of property there, these were properties that were selling for 500,000, then went up to 1.8 million, 2 million, 5 million, 12 million. As I'm talking with you now, most areas there are selling for as high as 85 to 90 million currently. currently. Imagine my friend, a medical doctor, that came and bought 5 plots then at 500,000 naira. Came to meet me the other day that he's looking for investment. He wants to build a specialist hospital. I was like, okay, no problem. There was a time he told me he had a property on so and so place. He was not even following up on the trends in the property he bought. He bought the property and went and relaxed. So when he asked me about it, I was like, okay, if the area you're talking about is the area I have in mind, then properties there then was selling for around 50 to 60 million naira. He said he doesn't believe it. We went there, made inquiries and all, and they told us that he's selling for that amount actually. But I was shocked. He told me, he asked me what do I advise he does. I told him, go sell off your properties. They are investments, they are assets. Asset is anything you can actually convert to liquidity, other investment. When you're cash strapped, your asset should be something you could easily convert to liquidity. He sold those properties, and of course, his specialist hospital is currently ongoing. Currently ongoing. So this is what land banking can do for you. You could decide to buy a lot of properties, keep them for a while, and when it appreciates, you sell. Okay. Then, if you want to go into land banking, there are factors to consider, of course. You look at infrastructure, you look at electricity, you look at buildings, then you look at the potentials around that area. You ask what the government plans for such areas. What the government plans for such areas. I know not too long ago, Lekki Ebe was selling for, some persons were buying Lekki Ebe for 300 something thousand, 400,000. I know my surveyor told me he bought Lekki Ebe for 350,000 naira. That the area he bought now is selling for 15, 18 million naira. You understand? This is what land banking can actually do. People go, some persons went in there to Lekki Ebe and acquired a lot of property. Those persons are the ones enjoying Lekki Ebe now. You understand? Like a friend of mine will say, they are the people in soup now. Now then they for soup now. You understand? This is what land banking can actually do for you. It's exactly what land banking can do for you. Then there's this thing called property flipping. Property or land flipping. What is land flipping? Land flipping is when you buy a property to sell. This is actually a short-term investment. When you buy a property to sell, you could majorly properties in distress. There are people called angel investors. What these people do is that they keep large amounts of money and wait for opportunities to buy properties. They study the trend, they understand the trend, they know when properties would appreciate, they know when properties would be stored. They look for properties that are quite cheap, properties that the owners are in distress, they buy them off, do one or two things in the property and flip them sharply. You could buy in an area where properties sell for as high as 50 million naira. You could buy a distressed property for as cheap as 30 million. Imagine buying a cheap property, you could actually go buy an old building, buy it for 40 million naira, invest about 10 million naira into it in renovation and all. The value of the property jumps up, pushes up. Once the value goes up, you flip your property and sell. This is still a beautiful investment plan. But then, the primary factor that affects the kind of real estate investment you want to step into is kudi, money, how much you have. How much you have. You understand? A client walked into my office one day. He was like, Mr. Nelson, how you doing? I said, I'm fine. Okay, I'm looking for property. I don't know if you have property around this Ruboko and a car, Igrita, all this area. I want to buy and build a property I could actually buy and move in with my family. What do you advise I do? I said, okay, that's a beautiful one. If you want to build a house for your family, it's a good one. So, sir, how much are you looking at? What's your budget? What I'm looking at is maybe 1 million, 1.5 million naira. Of course, every customer is quite right. Every customer is always right and all. What I did was to pull back, smile, call him closer, and explain to him that, Oga, your 1 million naira can only buy Ipo, Omademe, Abara, and these suburbs for you. You can't get a property inside the town at that amount. So persons don't really understand this. They see a lot of billboards flying everywhere. Start your journey into becoming a landlord with 200,000, 300,000. The most estate companies put up misleading advertorials. You understand? Explain to them that those 50,000 naira they need to be paying, the 100,000 they need to be paying, Are deposit, instrumental payments? They are not the value for the property. Of course, I understand information marketing. And you, as a potential investor, ask questions, research, research. You can't be wanting to buy and build for 1.5 million naira. Or unless you want to buy a property with a small court case. You know, property with this one that if you buy it, you go and save the number of 10 lawyers, prepare for court cases. For such properties, I know Mr. Ihonwo would always give you such properties. You understand? The average Igbo man would always give you such properties. No insult meant to Igbo men, please. So you need to understand the kind of investment you want to step into, the factors that would, then you understand the market trend. The market trend, what works in the city you want to invest in. Okay, in a city like Port Harcourt, we all understand the fact that Airbnb it's booming seriously. It's booming seriously, and it's a viable sector for people to invest in. It's a viable sector for people to invest in. You know, some persons actually the height of their real estate investment is to buy a house or maybe build a house, give it out to tenants and take rent. I'll do a small calculation, please. If you have your pen and paper, please bring it out and join me in this calculation. Let's say you buy a land in a fairly decent area, such as Igrita, for 15 million naira. 15 million. You invest about 45 million naira into constructing 4 units of two-bedroom apartments. 4 units of two-bedroom apartments at 45 million. 45 plus 15. Please help me if you've gotten it. How much did you get? Okay, I'll help you guys out. I know most of you are not good at calculations. It's about 60 million naira, sir. It costs you 60 million naira to acquire this property, go to buy the land and of course put up the construction there. And remember, you did 4 two-bedroom apartments. The average price for two-bedroom apartments in Igrita currently is around 4, and of course a standard apartment. I mean, with POPs and the rest of all these nice finishes, you're looking at 700 to 800,000. Let's even say best case scenario, 1 million naira, which I know might not be up to it for each apartment. 4 of them in a year, you're getting about 4 million naira. Okay, so at the rate of 4 million naira per annum, how many years will it take you to recoup your 60 million naira? Can somebody do the calculation, please? Somebody very fast, please do the calculation. 60 million. See, okay, just do it this way. 60 million divided by 4 million. How much are we getting, please? I want members of the audience to answer this, please. 60 million naira divided by 4 million. What are you getting, please? Okay, so 15 million naira. Thank you very much. 15 million, 15 actually. So it means that it's going to take you 15 years to recoup your investment. 15 years, right? That sounds funny. Now, let me explain something better again. In areas such as Rumi BP, let's imagine it costs you about 60 million naira to buy our 2-bedroom apartment, luxury apartment in Rumi BP in our Concord residence. 60 million naira. And the beautiful thing about it is that we have a partner bank that are willing to finance your purchase to the tune of 70% of the purchase price. Meaning that if you want to buy that property, they will give you 7%. All you need to come up with is 30%. But then let's still say you can come up with 100%. You pay the 60 million naira and acquire 1 unit in our Concord residence. So you convert that apartment into a service apartment, Airbnb. You understand? The average price per night for a 2-bedroom Airbnb in Rumi Bekwe is between 80,000 naira to 150,000 naira, depending on the standard. And of course, you know that we're sparing no expense in giving you the highest standard when it has to do with that Concord residence. So let's average it so we don't overcalculate. Let's just, on a safe margin, 100,000 naira per night, sir. You're earning 100,000 naira per night for anybody that spends a night in your Let me prepare luxury apartments, Concord residents. So you say in a month there are about 31 days in a month. So let's say you do your publicity and all, based on the fact that you're not in that line, and of course you might find it a bit difficult to pull in clients. So out of that 31 days, you can't get full occupancy, and the best you can actually do is probably give or take 20 days in a month. Okay, so we say 100,000 times 20, 100,000 times 20. How much are we getting? Mathematicians in the house, please help me. 100,000 per night times 20 days. How much are we getting? 2 million. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Okay. Lewanya. Thank you. It's 2 million times 12, sir. Case. What case times 12? What are you getting? About 24 for you guys. 24. This is, you can actually make buy a unit of our Concord residence and convert into a service apartment, sir. 24 million naira. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Would you still want to go build that house for rent? Or you prefer to buy this service apartment, this luxury apartment, and turn it into a service apartment and start making money? If you need to take a loan from the bank, it's still a good one. We have partners that can actually finance you, give a loan with a 7 to 15 years tenure at just 30% interest rate. What this means that if you take that money and buy this property, the property alone will generate enough money to service the bank and still have a lot of it left for you without you having to break the bank, without you having to empty all your accounts or drain yourself to acquire this property. You understand? So these are investment opportunities that one can tap into. Of course, these are what smart investors are doing. Smart investors are asking the how. How do we do it? It's not the why, it's about the how. How can one do this? How can one do this? Service apartment, it's a trend that is coming up in River State now, in towns like River State. You understand? And it's something is what smart investors are keying into. Our Concord residence promises to be an amazing investment destination for people looking at going into Airbnb. Of course, it's still a good place for residential too. If you want to stay there to raise a family, you're younger, you want to spend time there and all, you get. And you know the beautiful thing about this apartment is that if you're not a resident of Port Harcourt, even when you come into town, you come into Port Harcourt, and you instead of spending time in a hotel, all you need to do is to move into your service apartment. You could just call the manager. And of course, if you cannot manage a service apartment, you could sign a contract with us. We'll take it up and manage it for you, and you earn rental income at the comfort of your home. You don't need to stress yourself. At the comfort of your home, you earn rental income. You understand? We can actually help you manage that. So, you spot what we call diamonds in the rough in real estate. There are investment opportunities that promises higher returns. Opportunities that a lot of persons are overlooking. These are investments that I advise people to go for. Because most sectors are quite saturated. Land banking is beautiful. Land banking is awesome. But land banking is getting saturated. Professional advice, go for service apartment if you can afford it. But of course, if what you can afford is land banking, please go ahead and do it, sir. Go ahead and do it. For land banking, you need to understand when to buy and when to sell. You buy when it's low and sell when it's high. It's a general investment advice that everybody knows. Buy when it's low, sell when it's high. Same goes for land banking. All right. So, like I said earlier at the beginning of this webinar, if you have any question, please drop your question. If you have any question, please drop your question. Drop your question. So that at the end of this section, we'll take every question. Every question will be handled. I think we'll have just about, we were supposed to do this for 30 minutes and handle question and answer for 30 minutes. But our time is fast spent. So Okay, I think we started a bit late. We have just about 1 minute to hit 30 minutes of we being on air. But then I'm thinking of how best to handle this. Okay, we'll do 10 minutes teaching. After 10 minutes, in the next 10 minutes, we'll start taking questions and answers. Please, for every question you have, drop it on the platform. Drop it on the platform, please. For every question you have, drop it on the platform. All right? Thank you very much. So we've handled that too. Basically, land banking. Land banking, it's an investment opportunity in real estate that it's accessible to different categories. There are properties you could acquire for as low as 500,000 naira, 700,000 naira. I advise, sir, go ahead and buy them. No land is a waste. Land is something you don't feed. You don't invest any money to maintain it. All you need to do is to buy from a reputable estate company and know your property is safe with them. Your property is safe with them. When you want to sell, you come up and sell your properties. When you want to sell, you come up and sell your properties. You understand? So these are what smart investors are doing. Smart investors are doing what we call money play, investing money in properties. Properties is a sector, real estate sector is a sector that promises consistent growth of all assets. Of course, I was talking with the guy the other day, and I was telling him that car is not an investment. That when you buy a car, your car could crash and all. He told me something. He made sense actually. It was like when he rents. Okay, go inside your land when it's raining now. Let me see if rain will not beat you. Okay, drive your land from here to Aba. I laughed. I told him something. The land I'm buying now would guarantee my being able to afford any car I want to afford in future. I will explain this to you, sir. Imagine you look for properties that are selling for 500,000 naira and you buy, let's say, estimatedly 100 plots. Of course, some persons are doing it. You buy 100 plots of it, fence it and forget about it. Leave it for the next 10, 15 years, sir. Probably this is when you're still doing business, you're healthy and all, you're making a lot of money. At your retirement, this land you're banking can be your retirement plan, sir. Can be your retirement plan. When you must have retired and the value of that property had appreciated, all you need to do is to wait, and after a while, you call one or two of your agents. Emeka, go to that my land, cut 10 plot and sell and bring the money for me. When they bring the money, you use it and maintain your life. You understand? This is an investment that would offer you consistent financial returns. But then, for any time you want to embark on land banking, you need to do due diligence. Research the property you want to buy. Research the areas that assures high appreciation rates. There are factors. There are factors that militate, that hinder fast appreciation of lands. Insecurity. You go to buy a land at a place that is prone to violent attacks. You can be sure that development would not hit that land in a hurry. Development will not hit that region in a hurry. What that means is that your land, of course, would appreciate. Certainly, I give you that guarantee, it's going to appreciate. But the appreciation rate is going to be stunted when comparatively, when you buy properties in a place that is very secure. The last few years have seen an explosion in the Ipo, Omagwa, and Omademe, and in these environs. As a matter of fact, it's very difficult to get a land in these areas now. I remember the first set of guys that went in there, when they're in faith, they understood what real estate was all about. An airport is there. There would come a need to service this airport with a lot of facilities. Of course, if this is an airport, there will be a need for hotel in future. There will be a need for apartments around there. I think a few months ago, I was in Lagos. I was trying to travel. I was trying to come back to Port Harcourt from Lagos and all, and I was stuck in traffic. I missed my flight. So I rescheduled my flight for, I think, 6:47 the next morning, 6 a.m. And I was torn between going back to my hotel in GRA in Ikeja or staying around the airport area. I had to hustle and got a hotel very close to the airport there, so that I could meet up with my flight on time. This would actually happen in places like this Port Harcourt airport. Now it seems as if nothing is happening there, but this is the best time to buy. When it seems as if nothing is happening, when those properties are still affordable, the best time to buy. You buy them when you can still buy them, sir. Land far. There's this very popular video I listened to one of our young chaps make. She said, "This place far, this place far. Now make Papa Emeka don't mark 70, you know, gets land." You understand? This is an excuse that most fathers have given to their children. Do you want to repeat the mistakes of your fathers? Do you want to repeat the mistakes of your fathers? The Bible says the earth is of the Lord and His fullness thereof. If the earth is your father's, you don't want to own a piece of it. It should be a bragging right for every young man to own a piece of land in Nigeria, in places like Port Harcourt. Even if you're not in Port Harcourt, you're buying property does not mean you're coming there to develop. You could buy them for property flipping. You could buy them to sell in the future. You could buy them for land banking. You understand? You could buy them for land banking. So I advise you, go for it. Reach out to Lujo Heights or any, it mustn't just be us, any reputable estate company. Go and see those properties. Kill that doubt. Kill those excuses now. Take a step. Step out and get those properties. And I guarantee you that when you get genuine properties in areas like, I would mention some, okay, let me give you guys some example. There are indices we use in calculating appreciation rates for properties and all. And for most of us, before we buy properties, we go to the chart it. When we chart, we ask for the government proposition for that neighborhood. The government proposition for that neighborhood. There's this area in Ekeka, if you're conversant with Port Harcourt, the road leading to Ibueche from Eneka. I went there one day and I saw that the government was proposing a double lane for that place. So persons were like, the Governor Wiki has announced that it's no longer a double lane, it's going to be a single lane. I told them, relax. In the master plan, that place is a double lane. Wiki might not be the one to do it, but a governor will come one day that will dualize that road and increase the commercial viability of that area. You can see what is happening now. With the commencement of the Ring Road project, the Ring Road is cutting across that neighborhood. As I'm talking to you now, a flyover is being constructed at that in a current about, leading to that place, that area. You understand? Some smart investors went there. I advised a couple of persons, they went there and acquired properties. You understand? Then there are areas I've mentioned now. If you can afford to get a property, in Ipo, please run and get one. Run and get one. Sorry. You have the Omademe. You have the Abara. I see a lot of persons tell me, anything a chair, I don't like a chair. A chair. You need to understand one thing. An average investor, an average businessman understands one thing. Investment is not about you. It's about trends. It's about what works. It's about principles. Remove your emotions out of the equation. You don't make emotional decisions when you have to do with finances. You ask yourself, what are the things in this area that would guarantee the appreciation of this neighborhood? There are about 7 universities in the Abara region currently. 7 universities. Everybody knows what Uniport did to Choba. The explosion that happened in Choba is directly tied to the presence of just that one university. Then imagine what 7 universities will do to an area. In no distant time, in the near future, the Abara community is going to explode commercially. Of course, it's happening already. Properties in Abara a few years ago were selling for just 350, 400,000, 500,000. As I'm talking with you now, most areas in Abara are selling for as high as 3 to 4 million naira. Some smart investors came there and acquired properties when it was cheap. Why some persons are still giving excuses? It's far. Why they cannot acquire properties there? They are waiting for when they can afford 20 million, 50 million naira to buy properties in Igrita, to buy properties in Ruboko, and the rest of it. Why are you waiting for that money to get to 50 million that might not come? Why don't you start with what you have now? Start with what you have now. Break that jinx and guarantee financial security for your children. All right? So, gentlemen and ladies, at this juncture, I think we'll take the questions and answer. So we'll be able to round up on time, please. Get your questions down. Okay, I'm seeing Mr. Kechuku Lewanya asking, what are the three most important things in real estate? Three most important things in real estate. Okay. Uh, okay. I'll say three most important things in real estate is number one, location. Number two, location. Number three, location. I'll explain what I mean by this. Basically, for everything I've mentioned here is tied to location. You understand? You want to buy a property in Umibepe, basically. You understand the fact that when you talk of security, that place is quite secure. You talk of infrastructure, the place promises almost 23 hours electricity every day. You talk of road infrastructure, beautiful. You talk of amazing structures around there, it's there. All this could be summed up to location. The location you choose to invest in determines the appreciation rate of your property. Location is the most important thing. It's the most important thing to consider when choosing your choice of property. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm looking at the second one. What are the factors that limit the value of a property? Okay, there are several factors that limit the value of a property. The first one will be security. Second one will be infrastructure. Then third one will be accessibility. You get for a property that has multiple access, a property that you can access from anywhere in town in less than 30 minutes will appreciate better than a property that has a single access. You understand? It will appreciate better than a property that has a single access. Then security actually helps to appreciate properties very well. If this region is very secure, and even if this place are all bush, the moment there is security here, you will see a lot of persons who want to go and start developing to move in. And the moment they start developing, every other person wants to develop. It pushes, it fast tracks development in that region. You understand? And of course, electricity, of course. If I want to build a house in a place, maybe in the next 4 years and all, even if electricity has not gotten to that place, I need to be sure that electricity can get there before I start developing. Because nobody wants to stay in that place. Infrastructure determines the value of property. Thank you very much. Please bring your questions. Keep coming up with your questions. Keep hitting me with your questions. Keep hitting me with your questions, please. Keep. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I'm seeing Eloho Yubover. Okay, Eloho Yubover is asking, what are my assurance that one day land grabbers will come grabbing my properties after purchase? Thank you very much, man. This is the reason why you need to buy properties from reputable estate companies. For reasons, land grabbers they are people just like you and I, and if they are people like you and I, they have fear. They have fear, and of course, a real estate company that acquires a large tract of land must have put measures in place to defend the integrity, the territorial integrity of their property. If you buy a property from, I have this. I will cite this story. I have this friend of mine that acquired properties around that Iguchi area. He bought from one average Ikore man actually, and some land grabbers moved into that region, started bulldozing and demolishing properties and all. The young man lost all his properties. When he met his landlord, do you know what his landlord told him? I don't get money now. They say they get money. What you want make I do? Go meet them. If you have bought that property from an estate company, you can be sure that they have platoon of lawyers to unleash on these land grabbers. And land grabbers on weaknesses of these villagers. The estate company, ensuring they to do is to take a person. You don't even buy from an estate to the estate company. The host on the to go and you and get it back. It's for the property, the estate company to and go and property back. So that's why I would always advise, I would consistently advise, resist the temptation, how cheap it might be. Resist the temptation to buy properties directly from the vendors. Buy from reputable estate companies like Lujo Heights Homes Limited. Thank you very much. Please bring up more questions. Okay, question. Please, is it mandating getting a survey plan from the Ministry of Lands before acquiring a property? Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, if you're buying a property directly from the vendors and all, you would survey your property and register it from the Ministry of Lands. But then what conveys ownership of property is your deed of conveyance. This is to tell the government, okay, survey plan is to tell the government, okay, I own this property, my property is in so and so place. You understand? I own this property, my property is in so and so place. The primary document that conveys the right, equitable and legal right of a property over to you is your deed of conveyance. Your deed of conveyance. So you could still, of course, some persons like documentation. You could still go and register your survey plan with the ministry. It's not actually with the ministry. You go to the surveyor general. The surveyor general, survey department is a department under the Ministry of Lands. The surveyor general would register your property and release your COD for you. Of course. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, I'm seeing Anabaroye Shimobi. Anabaroye, very interesting name. How can one invest in the service apartment and as well as obtain the loans? It's not called loans, it's mortgage actually. So, so I advise you visit our office, see the structures we're doing, go for an inspection there, then you talk with our financial experts in the office, sir. Make a trip to our office. Thank you very much, sir. The fifth check. What happens if the government decides to revoke ownership of a property from an estate company? Okay, it happens basically. It happens. We can see the case where Governor Wike was revoking the C of O of a lot of properties. And we see Governor Sim coming up and reinstating most of those C of Os. The government can, in the Land Use Act, a couple of us are, we are a proponent of the fact that the Land Use Act is outdated. The Nigerian Constitution needs to be amended again. The Use Act confers ownership of every property in the state solely in the hands of the governor. What this means is that the government could wake up one day and decide to revoke any property. But then, if you buy from reputable estate companies, a couple of us have romance with the government. Of course, we can use leverage on this relationship to ensure that the government does not in any way encumber any of our property. The government does not in any way encumber any of our property. The government is the government. The government can decide to revoke any of your property for whatever reason. The government could want to site a civic center here, and in their best of in their mind of minds, they feel this is in the best interest of the local population. They don't care what you've done there. There are structures you've done there already. What the government can actually do is to offer compensation. Most times, the government offers compensation for such properties, but then the government is government, and if the government decides to revoke property, you can't go to court. If you go to court, you will meet the government. All right. Thank you very much. Let's get more questions, please. Let's get more questions, please. Okay, Mr. Chimobi, let me throw a bit more light on your question. Okay, for our Concord residents, the two-bedroom apartment is selling currently for 60 million. The three-bedroom is selling for 65 million, and the penthouses are selling for 75 million naira, sir. So what this means is that anyone you want to buy, you come to our office, negotiate, see the property and all, select the particular unit you want. Then you discuss payment plan. We'll have a 3 months, 6 months, and of course a 1 year, 12 months payment plan. But then instead of breaking the bank and stressing yourself and all, you could still partner with our partner banks. Leverage on this financial, leverage on the financial get pathway we're laying for you. Acquire these properties by getting mortgage to the tune of over close to 70% actually. And this mortgage can run for 7 years to 15 years. 7 years to 15 years. If you come, we'll put you through and you fill the necessary forms and all. Thank you very much. So, I'm seeing John Ekocha. He said, good day, sir. I have a challenge in content marketing properties. How can we get sure data and educational content to create attention and market properties faster, sir? Thank you very much. So, the simple answer to this is avail yourself for every training, affiliate training we organize. Avail yourself for it. You can't market a property, not just property, you can't market a commodity without product knowledge. Product knowledge gives you the confidence you need to market the property efficiently and effectively. Come for trainings, gather product knowledge, join the affiliates groups. You understand? Ask reasonable questions there. Pick product knowledge, and of course, we help you in your marketing. Thank you. The compensation you don't understand. But then, about the compensation is not capped. It is not designed to give you a pay. Is to pay you for the on top of the sure they calculate the value as you come the value of the properties you've done there, the development you've done there, the government decides to pay you. We've seen cases where some persons that actually spent over some properties that are valued for about 200 million, 300 million. You see the government giving 30 million, 40 million to such persons. I mean, what can that actually do? But then this is the government. This is the government. The Land Use Act, I keep saying, is outdated. It confers too much power to the hands of the governor. So till it gets amended, stop with it. Okay, I'm seeing this. The feature question currently in Lekki, irrigation problem is an issue. How does PH real estate developers plan to tackle this issue to make sure it does not happen? Okay, the difference between Lekki and Port Harcourt is that Lekki is reclaimed. Most of Lekki is reclaimed. Those places are at Atlantic Ocean. Estate companies, in conjunction with in partnership with the Lagos State government, reclaim most of those properties from the Atlantic Ocean. So over time, the river, the ocean would extend, of course, down to its former boundaries and cover these properties. You understand? The case is not this is not the same with River State. River State, even where you have the swampy areas, is just one. You understand that you could basically fill and drive the water away. Such thing cannot happen in River State. The case of Lekki is very different. And of course, in River State here, for every estate you're doing here, we have plans for proper drainage. All for Lujo Height, of course, I can only speak for my own company. We have proper plan for drainage for all our estates. If you come there, you'd see the roads properly mapped out. Of course, we are doing an extended expanse of land with areas mapped out for drainage. This guarantees that in future, the properties, none of our properties are flooded. But then, even if there are a lot of rainfall or maybe the hand of God happens, there are still ways to mitigate it. We've still put measures in place to mitigate against it. Thank you very much. Please bring your question. Keep asking your questions. Does all Lujo Heights estates have a particular building plan? No, sir. No, sir. You can actually decide to build whatever you want to build in our estate. Of course, your building plan has to be submitted to the office. Our engineers must take a look at it and be sure that it conforms with standard. Then, what we always insist on is that every roof for every building there must be a black roof. The exterior painting must be white. You can decide to do whatever you want to decide. But then our standard is that your roof must be black. Black roof, white exterior paint, then dwarf fencing, of course. Thank you very much. We have a few minutes to go. Please call me your questions. A few minutes to go. As a matter of fact, we have just about 6 minutes to go now. 6 minutes to go. Please call me your questions. 6 minutes to go. Six minutes to go. Your questions. And then, if you want to acquire a property, while we wait for questions, let me still add this. Ask for a site inspection. Go and physically confirm the property you're trying to buy. Go and physically confirm the properties you want to buy. Ensure those properties have close proximity with amenities and services. If I'm buying a property in a place where I intend to develop, I need to be sure that there are schools that are there that my kids could easily access. There should be hospital in case of an emergency. And of course, I need to be sure that it's close to a supermarket where one can actually buy basic commodities. Thank you. Sorry, Grace, I can't see that question there. The Land Use Act. Are you saying the Land Use Act covers any landed issues? Okay. You want to, does the Land Use Act cover any landed issues? The Land Use Act is carefully designed to confer a lot of powers to the government. Of course, it does too. Land Use Act covers the use. It's a general term. It carefully explains how every property would be utilized. Every property, the documents that convey the different types of rights over a property to a purchaser are all covered in Land Use Act. All right. The fifth chick you're asking, in cases of unforeseen circumstances of natural disaster occurring to any Lujo Height estates, does the buyer have to pay for any damage or the estate management? Okay, when we talk of natural disaster, you got us a bit confused there. Is it the disaster? Is it caused by the occupant, the owner of the property, the purchaser, or caused by negligence in the of the estate company? Of course, if the disaster was occasioned by negligence on the part of the managing company, Joy Items Limited, we bear full responsibility for such damage, and of course, adequate compensation will be done by us. But in the case where it's done by negligence on the part of the purchaser, we are not liable to pay for it, please. I think we have about 4 minutes more to go. Please come up with your questions. 4 minutes, 4 minutes. Okay, John Akocha. So, with regards to upskilling and training, product knowledge, some of us may not be physically readily available with you. Will you be organizing frequent online trainings to upgrade our knowledge as realtors? Yes, sir. Certainly, we will. I've taken it upon myself to consistently organize webinars like this, where we equip you with the right skills, the right tool sets before deploying you to go and market for property, market our properties and all. Yes, sir. The answer is yes. We would consistently be organizing trainings like this. Yes, sir. Okay, Mr. Anabaro Nyechimobi. What if disaster is an act of God, force majeure? Okay, sorry. If the disaster is an act of God, Lujo Heights Homes Limited will work very well, will work closely with the affected persons to mitigate any loss they must have suffered. We'll work closely with them, work closely with them. And of course, we'll play our role, do our part. How do you determine the value of a property before launching into the market? Okay, okay. I would answer that. Basically, the moment you buy a property, of course, all our properties are carefully selected from a whole range of properties. Before we buy a single property, we would check out a lot of properties, do our due diligence. Our lawyers will be deployed to go and do their legal findings and all. Our agents will do the traditional search. Of course, we do traditional search ourselves in conjunction with our agents and all. When we've been satisfied that that property is genuine, we go ahead and purchase. The moment we purchase, would the value of the property, how much we bought the property. Of course, there are developmental projects that will be done on the property, like dosing of the property, fencing of the estate, building of security house, and of course, infrastructural development. All this will be factored in before fixing prices for property. You understand? So these actually these factors, infrastructures will be bringing in the current value of the property, the prevailing market value for that area are factors we consider before fixing a price for our properties. Thank you. Our time is almost up. We have just 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go. Okay, I'll utilize this 1 minute properly. Gentlemen and ladies, I sincerely want to thank everybody that made that time to be part of this webinar today. I'm sure you've learned a whole lot. I sincerely apologize again one more time for starting late. We had some technical difficulties with our online infrastructures. I assure you that next time we'll start at the appropriate time. I still want to assure you that we'll be organizing trainings like this regularly. This training has come to stay. I will discuss with my IT team and come up with a way to organize this training, if not weekly, at least every 2 weeks. We'll come spend time with you online. For most of you that are, I know a lot of you are not in River State at all. Wherever you are, you don't need to be in River State to market our properties. We will consistently organize trainings that will equip you with the right skills to effectively manage the sales of this property. So if you are a new investor that want to move into investing in real estate, or an old-time investor, please keep a date with us. Look at on this page. Keep eyes glued to this page and all. We'll be listening beyond these trainings and all. We'll be dropping tips that will help you in your real estate journey. These tips will be dropped regularly. Thank you very much and have a beautiful night rest. Thank you.